I'm McKinney Smith. After going through a divorce, my sister passing away, experiencing narcissistic abuse, and some significant health scares, I realized through sharing my story that I wasn't alone in my suffering. Suffering, subjective distress generated by the experience of being out of balance. In a deep dive to holistically heal mind, body, and soul is where I discovered peace, clarity, and connection. It is impossible to be truly wise without some real-life hardship, and we cannot develop post-traumatic wisdom without making it through, and most importantly, through it together. Social connection builds resilience, and resilience helps create post-traumatic wisdom, and that wisdom leads to hope. Hope for you and others witnessing and participating in your healing, and hope for your community. A healthy community is a healing community, and a healing community is full of hope because it has seen its own people weather, survive, and thrive. Thank you for joining us on the Heal Her podcast, HEAL. Honor, elevate, and love her podcast, formerly known as the Walk in My Stilettos podcast, the top 1.5% most popular show globally, where we have conversations with extraordinary women on their journey toward wholeness and harmony. And since you're already here, you may as well subscribe. As a certified mindset coach guiding women towards peace, clarity, and connection within, supporting the direction of the system toward wholeness, my goal here is to help you thrive. Feminine conscious business coach Aprille Franks is the founder of Women's Recharged, parent to EPICWOMAN. As a master community builder, content creator, and launch strategist to women entrepreneurs, she helps women operate within their divine feminine power. Her superpower is transforming the business and personal lives of the women connected to her. Her ability to galvanize online communities through attraction content marketing is inspiring and duplicable through her coaching model, The Best of Both Worlds. Also a 5-time author and a 2-time film producer, Aprille creates powerful content across various platforms and believes sharing content is the best way for women's stories and expertise to be told. Please welcome to the show, Aprille Franks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come on and share your journey, your truth, your healing with us. I don't take anyone's time for granted. And I know, based on you and I both being on a panel for the Anti-Hustle Manifesto, we're in that season where we're enjoying the soft life and anti-hustle culture. So I appreciate you taking this time to come on and have this conversation.
100%. I think more of us need to be having this conversation. This seems to be the most pivotal time to be having it.
Yes, absolutely. Before we even get to your journey and where you are presently, I love to dig into your backstory and, learn a little bit more about, what you were or what you wanted to be or who you wanted to be as a little girl and what you were like as a teenager.
It's interesting. So I'm a feminine conscious business coach today, but when I was a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer. So basically the same thing. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was always advocating, for what's right, standing up for women, standing up for myself the best way I knew how, in different seasons of my life. Army brat, father was in the military, grew up in a really tumultuous, dysfunctional, abusive household. That was my backstory. And I was adopted into the family that I grew up with, who I adore. And we've done a lot of healing and reconciliation over the past many, many years. And so I learned a lot, and I also learned a lot of how to operate, in a state of trauma just to survive, and that really is what led me into this independent womanhood and waving my flag and being super aggressive and having to carry that strong Black woman cloak. And So yeah, and now I'm here.
Wow. I'm sorry you even had to experience, growing up in an abusive and tumultuous home as a child. And I've had quite a few women that have come on and shared, growing up in toxic environments, having childhood wounds, childhood traumas. And I love to see now how you've transmuted that pain into purpose and how you're making your own impact in the world and changing, the I guess the narrative
Mm.
for future generations. So I guess how how has your trauma responses from those childhood wounds, how do you feel that they have hurt you and how have they helped you?
You said you're sorry I had to deal with that. And I just want to say, I'm really not actually. I'm not. And the reason why I'm not is because who would I have been?
Mm.
I don't know who I would have been. I don't know if I would care this much about other people.
Mhm.
I think I
Mhm.
would be average and oblivious
Mhm.
to other women and to my own needs. So I'm
That's
grateful
powerful.
for, thank you. I'm grateful for the path that is just my life, and I think one of the things that really shed, because, when you're just living, you don't really know about trauma responses and triggers. You're operating and really in survival mode, just the best way
Yep.
you know how to be. You're not psychoanalyzing yourself. You're trying to make it to the next day,
Mm.
and for me, as I move into like in my teenage life, I was very promiscuous, looking for love in all the wrong places, not sexually empowered from a place of being empowered, but from a place of seeking something to fill something. And then as I entered my early 20s, that behavior continued. And I found myself in a abusive relationship. And in that relationship in my mid 20s, that's when I really was like, this is not who I'm supposed to be. Like this version
Mhm.
of me, this is not who I'm supposed to be. And so I vowed that I would not be back in that position again. And because I really kind of disappointed myself, but also I felt empowered because I recognized the signs and I was like, yeah, I got to do something different. And that
Mhm.
was really the beginning of like McKinney, like this personal, even thinking like what's personal development, like what's growth, it puts you on this path of seeking, looking for answers, whether that's for me, through spirituality, therapy, friends, different outlets. And that's really what started that path.
Wow. I mean, I think we underestimate the power of awareness. And for two things that you said there, I mean, you going through your 20s and coming to that point of awareness where you're like, okay, wow, like how am I going to change this? This is not who I want to be. And if it wasn't for that awareness, you wouldn't have changed and developed into who you are presently. But also what you said at the beginning about being grateful for the struggle. And I say that that's powerful because I feel like there are many people that have gone through really traumatic things and not necessarily to any fault of their own, but they're kind of living in this victim mentality. And I can respect what you've said because I agree with you, where it's like without the struggle, without the hardships, without the reason to persist and to strengthen our resilience muscles, who would we be today? It's unfortunate that we have to go through certain circumstances, but they shape us into who we are. It's not necessarily what's happened to us, but what we've done with that.
A hundred
Um,
percent.
yeah, so it's very powerful what you said
Yeah.
there.
And what you were
Yeah.
saying about, I just want to share too for the listeners, like it's easy to be a victim. Our society celebrates victimhood, and healing is not celebrated or advocated for
Hmm.
wholly in most societies. And for us, we really have to recognize like that is a it's a disservice, which is why I love the work that I get to do and the work that you get to do in platforms like this, because we get to shed light on real stories, real people that are overcoming and learning, to heal and to grow and to reconcile and to be expansive. And, so it kind of is what it is. And I think that you don't have to go through terrible things to be great. But if you do, it doesn't mean you can't be great.
Right. Yeah. I love that. There was a woman I had on recently, and she fought in Afghanistan. She was one of the only female gunners on her artillery team. And she was very adamant on, soft times build soft people. Like if we don't go through some toughness, then we are more likely to not be able to handle, life's everyday struggles, much less the adversities and traumas that we deal with on a regular living today. Like, I feel like there's been this shift from, I know when I got into entrepreneurship in like 2009, everything was hustle culture. It was like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, like work hard, play hard. I was around a group of female entrepreneurs where it was like, we were hustling 16 hours a day, like barely sleeping.
Yeah, same.
It was a lot. It was a lot. But now I feel there's been this relief and this shift in the soft life. And it was almost me going through a traumatic experience and saying, okay, I need to heal for real, and taking my own self-care journey for me to slow down and notice, oh, there's a lot of other people on this journey as well, slowing down and prioritizing self-care, like listening to their bodies. So I would love to get into, I guess, the soft life for you. What has that been like?
Initially, so in 2019, I was in a relationship that was emotionally abusive. And I learned in that relationship, and that relationship kind of encouraged me to start seeking, like, what does healing look like? How did I get here? It forced me to stop being aloof to the fact that I was the problem, right? That I'm the common denominator in this, and that I can change my own world. I can change not others, but what's happening within me. And it led me on a series of retreats and sabbaticals. And it led me into, different modalities of healing, psychedelics being one of them. And it led me on a feminine journey, as well. And that was really, I think, the tipping point for me was I was destroying personal relationships around me as well, because I was being destroyed. And I had to just be honest with myself. And I'm just like, what in the hell? Because on one hand, it's like, I'm so great. I'm changing all these lives, and I'm changing my life too, and the people that are close to me. And also there was this dampness, this dark cloud, that I felt like was following me. And I had to get that together. So the soft life didn't start off that way. It was very hard, and as a matter of fact, that's kind of new vernacular for us over the past couple of years, using that term. But before that, I just was wanting to feel whole. And that's what really led me to this element of being myself without operating from a place of fear, control, trauma, expectation.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally resonate with everything you just said. It's like, as soon as you started talking, I was like, yep, been there. Me too. Yep, girl.
I mean, seriously, it's so easy to stay miserable. It really is. And it's so interesting, because as hard as being miserable is, it's easy to stay there because you begin to learn how to operate, in that. And so, yeah, the soft life for me my life now looks totally different. I'm totally different than I was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. Some people don't realize that they have the power to control their story, to control, some of the outcomes, like you said before, like it's realizing that you can change the narrative in even how you look at your circumstances. Like when you said that you went through, I guess, this breakup in a toxic relationship in 2019, I was like, yeah, me too, girl. And it was that same time where it was like, I could play total victim here. I was, but at the same time, I choose not to allow that to be my narrative. It's my comeback story. It's going to be my healing story. And that's what forced for me the holistic healing and looking at all the different parts of my life. And I loved another thing that you said where, you know, it's really about reflecting and looking at ourselves. And it's hard for some people to say, I'm the common denominator here. I had to do the same. And when I said it out loud and I wrote it on Facebook on someone's comment, they're like, wow, that's brave of you to say. And it's like, yeah, well, majority of the population is so used to projecting, you know, what's going on inside instead of holding themselves accountable for any part that they played in that, because every experience is co-created. So as much as we went through these unhealthy relationships, okay, I had to, like you, look at the history here. And what is it about me where I thought I had boundaries? No, I didn't. What and unfortunately, because of our childhood and what we learned in our childhood, like our subconscious, those things that we, even our energy, our vibration, that toxic relationship, it's familiar. You know what I mean? When you grow up in an unhealthy environment, that's normal. That becomes your normal.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You don't see the signs. Okay. You're just you're on the Titanic, just going sinking down. Like, oh, this is great.
Yes.
Band playing. You're the band. You're just playing the song. Ship is sinking. Okay.
Yes. But it's being that awareness again, where you start to reflect and look at yourself and say, what can I do differently? How can I change? So I think that's a huge thing for you to point out within your healing journey. Because I want the women that are listening to recognize that we can, again, play victim and be like, this person did this to me. This person did this to me. But what part did you play? Because never is one person 100% to blame for anything. So I guess, you know, you mentioned, you know, psychedelics and stuff like that. Pivot into that one, because as I was on my holistic healing journey, I had been brought to the awareness of healing rituals and things like ayahuasca. I thought about going to Puerto Rico and Costa Rica. It was almost like I didn't feel I had done enough research. But recently, there's been so many companies and brands that have been reaching out that are offering microdosing and all these things. So I would love if you could share your experience with psychedelics and your healing journey.
100%. And before I do, I just want to piggyback on something you said. I just want to say too, there's a difference between being victimized and being in victimhood. Many of us have been victimized, right? And we're not responsible for that. Staying in victimhood, we are responsible for. We get to choose how we live. And it is unfair. Some of the things that have happened to me, to you, to some of the people listening. And also, we have a opportunity to take our life back and to take control of that. And so I just want to make sure that, you know, from my mouth to your listeners, it's no one's fault when things happen from a victimization standpoint. And also, we can't stay there, you know, because there's no living in that. And when I found the world of psychedelics initially, McKinney, I was anti. I was like, I'll never do drugs. Like, you know, why would I even do that? It was introduced to me from an uninformed friend. So she kept, you know, bringing it up. And I had heard a couple little things over the pandemic on maybe Clubhouse or something, but it wasn't my world. So I wasn't interested. And which is hilarious now because I actually facilitate psychedelic experiences for women. So the journey is the journey, right? And so
never say never.
Right. I mean, literally, just don't say it. Just save that sentence. And so I went on a journey, and in 2020, October, And it was very enlightening. It was very enlightening. It wasn't the type of experiences that I curate for people, but it was a great experience for me to know the power of that tool, the power of that plant, the power of what it can do for you. And then I started doing my research and connecting with well-informed psychedelic healers, therapists, associations, communities. And that led me to doing a journey again on a much higher dose, 5 grams. And my most recent journey was a 7-gram journey. And I can say that I believe, again, this is my opinion, that everyone who is a great candidate for psychedelic wellness that needs something to support them in reconciling and changing their habits and opening up their mind so that they can reprogram themselves should try it.
Mm.
And it's so interesting that I say that because I really was so anti, but I've seen, obviously firsthand in my own life, how much it's helped me. And also in walking women through these experiences on high doses we have a certified facilitator. It has been like just the deepest healing work I've ever done. I sometimes can't even believe that I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm a business coach, but I'm not, right? I am an advocate. I am a doula in many ways. I am a healer in many ways. And it has been the sweetest journey to watch people consume something that opens them up, that breaks through all the subconscious bullshit that we have experienced that we can't even get to on a conscious level or through talk therapy in many cases. There's so much data and research on how psychedelics helps rewire those neural pathways that really make a difference. It's not like, now, no, I'm not anti-medication. I am, however, pro healing, not suppressing feelings. Psychedelics allow you to feel feelings. Antidepressants help suppress feelings. So you're never not healed. You're never healed. If you stop taking them, you're still going to be depressed about the things you're depressed about.
Right.
And I think it's worth, having conversations with your therapist or people that you trust on incorporating some level of psychedelics in your healing.
Thank you for sharing that and being so transparent about your experience with it. To speak to what you said lastly, like emotions are energy, and depression comes from suppressing your emotions. It's trapped emotions. And if those emotions are not expressed, if they're not released, they start to you start to implode. People have emotional outbursts. They have emotional breakdowns. Your body becomes ill. Like the word disease, it's dis-ease. It's a body that is in dis-ease. All of these ailments and things that people have, a lot of it is suppressed emotions. It's trapped energy. So I love how, you've explained that psychedelics allow you to feel. I personally haven't experienced it yet, but I do want to try because I have watched so many documentaries and videos of other people's experiences. There was a medical documentary about healing on Netflix, and it was just talking about the different modalities of therapy and healing. And they did speak about the history of psychedelics and how it was actually, a really good thing. And then because obviously the government needs to control everything, but there was, I believe it was like a scientist or something, where they, started talking about how negative it is in order to get people not to, utilize it unsupervised and for them to be able to, control it, in whatever way that they want to. So it went with that whole time of, drugs and it being bad for you and all those things. But like you said, there's actual studies and things that prove the benefits of how it rewires, the neural pathways and all of those things, how it helps
100.
with clarity and vision and focus and all of those things.
Yeah, it's really like honestly, like it's like a zero. Can I say the F word?
You can say whatever you want, girl.
Okay. It's like a zero fucks experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? You start to see and experience what really matters. And the things that you're obsessing about is not as prevalent, and there's a lot of studies and research on the longevity of this healing,
Mm-hmm.
and some people have said, going on a guided, intentional psychedelic journey could be the equivalent of 10 years of therapy.
Yes.
That's
I've heard that.
that's a big statement. And in my work, and I haven't done it for 10 years, but I've done therapy for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And this definitely helped me way faster. And,
Wow.
and truthfully, inside of this psychedelic experience, because you could have a multitude of experiences and, you could be, so in my work, I've developed like these archetypes based on my witnessing of how people respond inside of these high dose journeys that we do. And, you could be present to this world. You could be in another world. You could be a fly, you could be God. There's so many, you could really see your higher self. You could
Mm-hmm.
encounter your ancestors. You can give birth in these journeys. It is indescribable, honestly.
Yeah.
The things and the experiences and the comfort, I think that I've watched women experience. Like it's just been really sweet. And I think that, if anyone's interested, I think do your research,
Yeah.
and I think that I understand the regulation, honestly. Like I don't know about the whole government regulation. I'm always skeptical because it's always a money thing. I don't really think that they're invested in our actual healing.
Mm-hmm.
However, and also because I am experienced with this plant on a high dose level, I am an advocate for guidance. Like I do not believe people should be going on psychedelic trips with their friends,
right,
or in parties, because so many things can come up for you. It could really mess you up.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be in an environment where you have things coming up and you don't feel safe and there's not anyone there to help you process that.
Right.
Integration is an imperative part of harm reduction when it comes to psychedelic use. And anyone that's seeking, that, I would say that if you, are talking to someone that facilitates these experiences, there's two things that people want to consider, Makini. One is, what's the intake process? And the second thing is, what is the integration process?
Mm-hmm.
And then know your dose and know what type of psychedelics you're consuming. Like those are, so it's four things. Those are four things that you want to ask, right? Because you do want there to be some sort of, so we have ours reviewed by a doctor and a nurse, all of our intakes. Everyone's not a candidate. Some people are on medications that, we have to consult with their physician. Some people have mental diagnoses that do not make them good candidates or have to do a different protocol for psychedelic, for those journeys. So I don't take it lightly because these are people's lives. And then the integration after is super imperative, that because you'll be different and you'll feel, you can feel a little isolated because no one that hasn't been on an experience like that's going to even know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
Or think you sound crazy.
I've watched so many interviews with like celebrities and stuff that have had the ayahuasca experience, and just how calm they seem and the experiences that they talk about. It's almost like they're floating. Like, the things that they used to be upset about or that used to irritate them, like they are just so chill. I've watched a couple of interviews with Mike Tyson, with Amarion, some other celebrities that have had those experiences. And like you said, everything that I've researched has been very much about making sure that you are with a shaman or experienced, practitioner one of my business partners from Australia, she wanted to, for her 50th birthday, wanted to do the ayahuasca experience in Costa Rica and sent me the package. And it was like, I don't even know, because one of the guys from The Secret was in it, because our mentor, we were like hands-on coached by Bob Proctor. So there's another thought leader that was featured in the documentary The Secret. I can't remember his name right now.
Michael Beckwith.
There we go. Yes. So he was leading that one, and it was like, I don't remember if it was $10,000 or $20,000, something like that. But basically the intake process is you have to do like a full physical with doctors and nurses. You have to, get a pass for certain things, because like you said, if you're not like, your medical history matters, your mental state matters, your environment matters. This is not just something that, it's not like a casual recreational thing that it should be done. So it's important, the environment that you're in, and that you have someone, I guess a partner, someone to monitor your experience.
100%. And then I'll also say, just briefly, if, those of you who are considering microdosing, like, also be clear on microdosing protocols. Like, microdosing, you're not supposed to microdose every day, like forever. Like, you microdose on protocols. You may be on, a stamina protocol. There's various protocols. So for example, you may be on in microdosing, you can function on a microdose. Like, you can go to work, you can do your normal things. Like, you're not high on a microdose, kind of like taking a baby aspirin for, like doctors say, take a baby aspirin for heart health or something like that. But you may take it for 2 days and off for 2 days and take it a day and then off. And then you may do that for a series of 3 weeks and then not do it for 3 weeks. So just be informed, right? And you'll be great. Just being informed,
yeah,
and it's worth, and I think a lot of people, they do things, recreationally, and I'm not the biggest advocate necessarily for that. And also just be informed, know what you're doing and know what you're consuming. That's the most important part. But it's a life-changing substance, and I'm happy that it's being decriminalized in many spaces, and I'm glad that it's legal in many, many, many places outside the U.S. I'm in the U.S., and so I'm glad that there's places we can go and be safe and good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I grew up to, my father, consuming marijuana since I was little, and then it being criminalized and all these things. And now that it's like legal everywhere, my father's a huge advocate. So certain things I understand, plant-based healing, like my father's a vegan, Rastafarian. So my background in being around people that are pro plants and healing, I'm all for it. Yeah.
Yes, Irieman.
I wanted to speak to, I guess, because we have had our own experiences with healing and now enjoying some of the benefits of the soft life and holistic healing. Yes. I feel like as Black women, it is very common to be given that title of strong Black woman. And there is a part of me that used to get highly offended because you never hear strong white woman, strong Asian woman, strong, like it's, people may look at your life or your experiences and just give you that title. And at the same time, I feel like it allows them to almost have less compassion for us. So I want to speak to the feminine journey from being a strong Black woman and your experience.
Listen, the scam. The scam. And let me just say this, I know that other women of other races have this feeling. I just want people to understand the connotation as a Black woman has been different because it's so stated. And I agree with you. It is very dismissive of this carrying the world on your shoulders, etc. And so for me, I was angry. I was strong and angry. Right. And I felt like I was validated. Like, I'm like, yeah, this happened to me. I was waving my victim flag. Like, I have a right to be a bitch. I have a right to be rude. I have a right to protect myself. I have a right to be abrasive because I've had to do all these things. If I don't protect myself, I am probably going to die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I don't, I'm going to end up in some sort of institution or standing on the ledge of a bridge somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressure of some my decisions and some are not my decisions, you know, throughout my life really made me feel like I had to be so strong. And my first thought and feeling of that was when I was 3 years old. And when I was 3 years old, that was my first memory. And I recall my father and my mother getting into a fight. And my father was alcoholic and he was abusive. And so were all the men in my family. You know, they beat their wives. That was just what you did, you know. And so when I was a little girl and I saw this fight, as I grew up, I was always jumping in, advocating, you know, feeling like I had to be strong for my mother because she wasn't what I was seeing sticking up for herself. I couldn't understand, like, why is this happening? You know? And so that really started it for me, that, and growing up in that environment until I was literally 16, still jumping in front of,
Wow,
between the two of them, you know, and to the point where me and my little brother, who's 3-4 years younger than me, I lose count, we jumped my dad. And I felt super justified. I felt super justified in being that strong Black woman. And there's nothing wrong with innately or, you know, or being able to do things and to handle things on your own. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's where does it come from? I think it's the foundation, you know? And for me, it just wasn't serving me. I was carrying too many things and I was just about to crack. And that really came to a head in 2020 when pandemic hit. I went to Jamaica on a sabbatical for about 21-ish days. I met a woman there. Actually, on the plane, I was Googling feminine help. I knew that what I was seeking was in the feminine. I innately knew that. I knew that my womanhood had been stifled. I knew that the strong, quote unquote, version of me was really just a survival body, right? It wasn't really who I am, right? And I knew it wasn't because you know how, and for those of you listening, you know how you feel yourself operating in one way, but you're talking to yourself in your head like, this ain't it. You're like, this is not me. You know, you're being one way, but but your higher self or somewhere in you is that authentic version of you. And it's like, I have got to get out of this. Like, I've got to change. Something has to change. Something has to give. Right. And the words that I used when I sent this woman, her name is Nadine Hatat, I said in the email, my soul cannot return the way it left. When I was leaving Vegas. I was here in Vegas. When I was leaving Vegas, I had someone house sit for me. And I was Googling help on the way to Jamaica. And I was like, my soul cannot return the same way I'm leaving, or else I'm just not coming back until I'm different. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow. That's powerful. So when you were there in Jamaica and was there anything in particular that you had in that experience that you feel changed you or reshaped you?
So I hired this woman and we coached. She said, well, you know, how often do you want to meet? And I said, every day. I said, I'm hanging on by a thread every day, like literally. And that's what we did. I was like, I don't care how much it costs. If I don't, if I don't talk to someone every day, I don't know that I'm going to make it.
Right.
And so that initially, right. And so that's why I believe in immersive experiences. A lot of us, and that's why I create them as well. I believe that, listen, therapy is great, but let me tell you something. I could not have waited 2 weeks to talk to anybody. I would have died.
Right.
I just wouldn't have made it. Like sometimes you need to know when you need more. Like you've got to be honest with yourself and be like, you know what? I get it, but this is not going to get it. Like I'm not going to, and when you're not armed with the proper tools, when you don't have the proper tools to feel your feelings, which sounds so woo-woo, but let me tell you something. suppressing is not working. Right. And
Right.
so that really made the difference working with her. And we actually chronicled that journey as just a part of her normal work. And as a result, her and I partnered and we're writing a book called Tired of Being Strong.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
And it's
nice.
that whole journey. So and the work that we did, it's so interesting. It wasn't that it was a lot of things I had to do. It was a lot of things I had to stop doing.
Mm.
And some things I had to start feeling and acknowledging. And that's the beauty of the feminine, is that it's always there.
Yeah.
Right? It's always there. And we have so many circumstances and life experiences that pummel that, that stifle that silence what's already there.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes removing yourself from your quote unquote normal environment is often the environment that is cocooning or holding on to the trauma that you're trying to release. And so a lot of times you need to leave. That's why people go to other places to seek something, because you need to see and feel something different. You need your life disrupted, or else you'll stay the same. And if staying the same is not what you want to do, then you've got to do something radically different. And that's exactly what I did.
Girl, listen, you are speaking my language right now. I agree. I resonate. I confirm. I second. I stand.
If y'all can see her right now, okay?
You are speaking my language, okay?
Listen, pass the collection plate, people.
Where can I drop my offering? I think one of the best things for me about even doing this podcast, and we are going on 5 years, I feel like every conversation blesses me. I feel like every conversation feeds my soul. I feel like every conversation is a form of therapy. I feel like every conversation helps confirm what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. So I am so grateful for women like yourself that are transparent, that are open, that are authentic about your experiences, because I feel this is needed for everybody. And I get the messages and emails and the DMs from women that are listening that feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I will continue to do this even if I never get paid, because it is about the experience, the impact, the healing that it is doing, not just for myself, but those that are listening. You said so many things that I'm like, okay, do I unpack it all, or pick
a thing?
I'll unpack some of it due to time, but I love that you're honest about needing help, because I think that, especially as Black women, sometimes there is this idea that if we ask for help, we are weak. And I strongly believe that asking for help helps us to remain strong. I believe that when you are vulnerable enough to ask for help, and especially knowing that, you know what, biweekly or weekly is not enough. I need every day. You are being honest about what you need so that you aren't depleted, so that you don't break down completely, or that you have a system in place to support the rebuild.
Yes.
I think it's great that, you spoke about the having to, I guess, unlearn some things and tap into what's already inside of you. Because I think oftentimes there are women that are seeking things, not realizing that it is inside of you. It's there. You just need to uncover it. There is so much buildup of, whether it be the trauma, the wounds, the shame, the negative self-talk, the toxic relationships, the toxic parents, whatever it may be, that is clouding the beauty that is already within you. And why everything that you said resonated so deeply is it's like almost like our timelines were the same. Like when you were going on your heavy healing journey, that's when I was going on mine. And when you talked about changing environments, I realized that I needed to release the energy of everything around me in order for me to have a faster healing, because I was like, I can't wait 5 years to heal from this. I can't wait 10 years to heal from this. I need it now. But it was like, okay, this house gotta go. I moved. This car, nope. It brings memories attached to this person. Gotta go. Like everything for me had to change to release that energy and change the environment so that I was able to heal and release things much quicker. So like everything you're saying,
100%.
I'm like, oh, girl, I get it. I get it.
And that's so comforting too, honestly, because I think people need to know, listen, you are not alone. People are just not talking about it. Okay. You seeing us on the internet, you see, and I walked my audience through this journey. The day that I went to Jamaica, I posted a post on Facebook and I said, I can no longer be y'all's man.
Mm.
I said, some of y'all are following me because my energy is so masculine and you need that in your life. And I just can't be that, and so I just want y'all to know, like, it's okay. And asking for help. Listen, I just removed the whole asking for help thing. This is the basis of how I live. Be honest. Okay. If you would just be honest, you would not have to worry about, is this weak? Is this whatever? Just be honest. You know what? I do need some help. You know what? I am overwhelmed waking up in the morning, doing the kids, trying to get dressed, go to work, getting in traffic, doing the job, trying to run a business. I am tired. I do need someone to clean my house. I do need something. I do need to talk to someone,
Yeah.
And if you're just honest, and remove, because all of that other stuff is ego.
Yep.
It really is. It's just ego. It's like, yo, why would you be able to do all this?
Yeah.
And then there's people there. So like, well, you created the life you had. And yeah, we did. And also this life I created needs support.
Yep. We all need support. We are wired for connection. No matter what level we are in life, no matter where we go, who we are wired for connection. We need support. We are not wired to go through anything alone. So
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Yes, girl. Yes.
We'll have to dish, honey. We'll have to dish after the interview. Listen.
Yes.
Y'all have to catch us in a pub. Is that what you call it in Canada? I don't know.
We have pubs here, yeah.
Listen, for the after show.
Listen, I'm coming to wherever you are. If you're staying in Vegas, I'm coming. If you're going to Houston, I'm coming. Listen. We need to everything you said, I totally agree. It's like when I was going through that, breakup and needing the holistic healing, there was a part of me that was like, okay, I had to take a step back from the coaching to focus on my healing. But at the same time, I was so honest I was every day in my stories, I was talking about the panic attacks, the anxiety, the things that I was experiencing till women started DMing like crazy. It was creating a community. So then I started doing lives of people who had experienced narcissistic abuse. And it created this huge community and support during a time where I was like, some people were probably looking at it like, okay, well, she's this big time coach supposed to be successful, but But at the same time, I needed support and I was able to get that support just by telling the truth.
Listen, when they say the truth will set you free, that's real.
Yep.
That is real. And so I think that's just the basis, right? And I think we get so used to pretending like it's okay. And, and I get it. You don't want to let everyone know, where you're at. Everyone doesn't have your best intentions, And also for the people, be honest with yourself, and then you can make decisions based on that honesty. And if you don't know who to reach out to McKinney. She'll point you in the right direction. Reach out to me. I'll point you in the right direction, in the best direction for you, based on where you're at. You have some place to start, even if you don't even know what to say. I tell my clients, if you don't know what to say, post a white flag. Just post a white flag. And in our community, people know if you see a white flag, call them.
Yeah.
Call them.
That's a big
Sometimes
one.
you don't have the words. Sometimes you don't have the words.
That's a good one, Aprille. Honestly, to all of you listening, like if you need support, post a white flag. Because even if someone doesn't know what that means and they're like, you good? What does this mean?
Yes. Yes.
To those who are, aware, we can support you.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So before we go to the final segment, the rapid fire, Aprille, please tell people where they could stay connected with you, where they can learn more from you and about you.
Yes, 100%. So TikTok is for personal, just my personal playground at Epic Aprille, and Instagram is for business content. And just keep it real simple. I'm going to be doing some stuff on YouTube I'm really excited about. And you can stay tuned to what I've got going on just by literally my Instagram stories is like what's going on every day. So tap in there at Epic Aprille. And welcome to my world.
Yes. And I will definitely make sure to have all of your contact details in the comment section below the episode so they can just click and connect with you directly. And I've seen many fake pages pop up pretending to be you. So make sure you get the right handle.
People are so raggedy.
Epic Aprille. Okay, there is no underscores. There's no extra letters. Get it right.
Oh, man.
Okay, so the final segment of the show, it's a rapid fire. You can answer one word or one sentence, but I also don't like rules. So if you feel claustrophobic, feel free to expand.
Okay.
All right. Name a book that has changed or greatly impacted your life.
The 4-Hour Work Week and The Awakened Woman.
Okay. What failure has taught you the most about life? And do you have a favorite failure?
What failure has taught me the most about life? I don't really look at it like that. I don't have any life failures. I got shit that didn't work out, but I don't really consider it failures because how else would I know?
You a lesson, right?
Yeah. So I'm skipping that one.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. What advice would you give your future self?
Oh, wait, you know what? Let me go back. Okay, so let me tell you my favorite real fast, my favorite adversity or whatever that I feel like I've learned the most from. And it's probably going to be the relationship I had with a narcissist. It literally, I would not be here in this way, living this life in this body, had it not been for the trauma of that relationship. It would not have led me on the journey. So that's the biggest thing. What would I say to my future self? Is that what you said? What's the lesson to my future self?
Yep.
Well, what would I say to my future self? That's funny because I think my future self is guiding me.
That's powerful.
I don't know. Yeah, I think my future self is guiding me right now. I don't know that. I don't know that I need to inform it. I think she's informing me.
I love that perspective. Like, I love it so much. Only because when I think about who I want to be or, what I want to do in the future, I envision that, I visualize that, and I work backwards from that. So it is that version of me informing who I am. So listen, girl, we are aligned. I love it.
Look, are you an Aries?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
Me too.
Love it. When's your birthday?
April the 14th.
I'm the 18th.
Girl, yes, girl. Where are we going for our birthdays? Okay.
Yeah, listen, we need to plan as soon as we're done this recording. Okay.
That's
I love it. Okay. When you feel overwhelmed, unfocused, or uninspired, what do you do?
I either orgasm, weed, or go to sleep.
Love it. Okay. Describe yourself in one word.
In one word. Authentic.
Love it. Okay. And last but not least, what do you wish women would do more of?
I wish women would honestly do more for themselves. I wish women would put themselves first. I wish women would stop thinking that by saving everyone else, that they're going to be better and that they're going to be loved. And I wish women would stop thinking that they need to do more to be loved. I wish women would just be.
I love it. Thank you so much, Aprille, for your wisdom, for your confirmations, your experiences, your truth, your authenticity. Like, thank you so much. You're stuck with me now.
No, thank you. This is great. I'm honored that that we ended up on that panel together and that we connected and you asked me to be a part of sharing, to your community. I don't take it lightly. And, I'm grateful for the opportunity to share anytime.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And to all of you healers out there, until next time, subscribe on all platforms. Don't forget to rate the show, leave us a review. I would love to hear what resonated with you from April's journey. What gems did you take away? What aha moments did you have? I want to thank each and every one of you that continues to listen each week and helps the show rank globally in the top 1.5% most popular podcast. And I want to challenge you to share this episode with 5 friends. Sharing is caring. I want you to share this episode with 5 people that need to hear this episode. And you can tag us on Instagram. You can tag Aprille at EPICWOMAN. That's EPICWOMAN. And you can tag myself at The Real McKinney Smith. A healthy community is a healing community, and a healing community is full of hope because it has seen its own people weather, survive, and thrive. So let's continue to heal her.